Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Book Club for Movies. Amy LaJoie and Samir Roy here. Samir, happy Wednesday. How is your Wednesday going?
Oh, just a typical hump day. Nothing special.
Yeah.
Other than work. It's been a work day. Been busy.
For us true crime documentary fans, the Netflix Cecil Hotel miniseries, which is like 4 episodes, that came out today. I watched the first episode a little while ago.
You already watched it?
I told you. I was gonna go on and watch Dark, which I've been getting through. I have 1 episode left of season 2, and then every time I see that there is a new true crime thing on Netflix, I will seriously drop whatever I am doing and watch it. Yeah.
Or remember the evil duck character in DuckTales?
It's been a long time. Oh, is that what I look like? Yeah, I will take that as a compliment, Luke, that I look like Morticia. Yeah, just experimenting with new, with the new hair. I used a straightener today, even though my hair is straight, but even a straightener on straight hair does things. Yeah, but anyway, so far the Cecil Hotel thing is interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably watch the rest of it today. And I will report back.
We'll talk about this after. I need your preliminary review before I start it. So I thought you were going to wait a little bit. I didn't realize it was like immediately.
No, immediately.
You were doing it.
Had to. So, today we will be talking about Whoopi Goldberg. So stay tuned for that. Before we start talking about her, we will be talking about yesterday's film, Love and Basketball. Yesterday we talked about screenwriter, director, producer Gina Prince Bythewood. And neither Samir and I had seen this film. Samir, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I was surprised by like all the superstars and all the actors that we knew in the cast. So there was one in particular, obviously, like I can't believe I had never knew until last night that Tyra Banks was in this movie.
Yeah, I started this movie before Samir, and I texted him. I said, you were in for a big surprise. And then you texted me, you were like, oh, Regina, which Regina was that?
Regina Hall.
Yeah, Regina Hall. Yeah, like, oh, Regina Hall.
I love
Regina Hall. That's not what I'm talking about, though. Just wait. You will know. And
I was like,
pops Tyra towards the end.
I could not believe it. She seemed like so out of place in that character. It was very odd.
Yeah, it was.
I
enjoyed watching it. I felt like it was a pretty predictable romance. But
except for they reversed the gender polarity, basically, where it's like instead of because when it was getting close to the end and she's like, oh, she came back from Europe, and I'm like, okay, so you left your like cushy champion basketball player role in Europe, where you were living in Barcelona with a La Sagrada Familia in the background on your way to lunch. You left that to work at your dad's bank and not play basketball. And now you're going to support the dude so you can get him healthy so he can get back. I was like, that's where I thought it was going to go. And I was like, this is directed by a woman. She's not going to do this. She would not do this to us. And then it ended with like the modern vision of it's like, hey, if the woman is the one who's the bigger success, why not let her continue to have the career and you can take care of the kid at home, which is what, I have many friends who, their married lives are like exactly like that.
And
I was like, oh, of course you can trust a woman to give us that happy ending instead of the man gets his career back and the woman is a happy mother keeping home. Because obviously they made a point of that in the movie with her mom.
Yeah.
Where, she thought so little of that role and she didn't understand its importance or how difficult it is, I'm not sure if they really give you enough of a vision of her understanding that, but you get the message that she gets it finally when her mom does sort of like tell her daughter what she thinks.
Yeah, I do like where it ended up. with all of its predictable elements in it, it definitely had an ending that was like, okay, everyone's happy now, except Tyra. We never find out.
Except Tyra, who we never hear from again.
Bye, Tai Tai. Every time I see her, I just
baby.
Like, hi, it's Tai Tai. And I'm like, oh my God. She is a character. Yeah, but I mean, considering this was also just like her first feature film that she wrote and directed, and then seeing all the things that she's done since then. The other two films of hers I have seen would be
Secret Life of Bees.
Secret Life of Bees. I was like, what? The B one. And then The Old Guard. I think out of all of those, The Secret Life of Bees is my favorite. Granted, she didn't write that. That was based off of a book, but I really, really recommend that one. It's got a great, mostly female cast in it as well.
I also appreciated how well directed all the basketball sequences felt to me in a cinematic sense. Like I don't know as much about basketball, so I'm not perhaps the greatest authority to speak on that. But I will say that I think that she shot and edited those sequences in a way that made these actors, at least Omar Epps, because I don't know what his basketball ability is, but it made them look like legitimate athletes.
Yeah.
In the context of all those scenes, you never got a feeling of like them trying to convince you that these people are athletes. It felt like everything, all the movement and everything felt really organic and natural the way it was put together. So if they aren't even like super accomplished athletes, I think this director did a really good job of making us believe that throughout the movie, because I never doubted it for a second, which is not something that happens in most movies where actors are playing an athlete or a musician, or then we talked about this, things where you have to have a high level of skill doing that thing for us to believe it, or for, and usually directors have a really hard time getting around that and making those moments believable. And they all felt believable in this movie. So I thought that was a really big accomplishment as a director.
Yeah, I know that here Walter's saying that Omar Epps plays basketball with Clooney and Cheadle. Those are good people to play with. Is it Sanaa?
I was going to say Sanaa.
Okay. I know yesterday I read about her. I know that she hadn't had any basketball experience, but trained for months prior to filming this. And I think it was Spike Lee with his involvement. I think he had said something like, oh, like we should really get an actress who actually knows how to play basketball, because that's such a big thing. And Gina Prince, by the way, was like, yeah, we tried. We could find basketball players, but they can't act very well. And vice versa. This was kind of the best, like, we're just going to get her, and she's a good actress, and we're going to train her. And that's what happened. And I'm sure, they probably both had some basketball doubles for them as well. Yeah, but it was exciting. It was exciting to watch some of the basketball scenes. And there was even, I know for one of her games, there was like a point of view shot for a while, and you could like hear her thoughts and everything. Walter, my God, Walter, I swear. You always say it.
We're going to a party at Walter's house, and he has to invite everybody he knows.
Yes, all your acquaintances. Yeah, and I thought it was also interesting, it's like, okay, obviously they're both going to get into USC, and seeing like his game that's like in the main stadium, and then they cut to her game, and even though it's still at USC, it's like, this looks like we're still in like high school.
Yes.
And she finally gets like the respect. So I think there was a lot of commentary on that as far as women in basketball in the United States. But she goes to Spain, and she's like on posters and getting endorsements, and
people want autographs, and
and actually playing in this huge stadium and winning championships. And she gives all that up. Unfortunately, it looks like eventually they pick things up.
Yes.
I don't know if that coincided with, I don't know the history of the WNBA, but maybe that did start to get a little more publicity and popularity with it, because it looked like eventually where the film ends up, she is on a women's basketball team in the US, and she's in a big stadium. It's a big deal. Yeah, but this movie was fun. If people didn't see this is available on Hulu if you're looking for a romance. And if you're looking for a sports film, this is the one for you.
And I thought it had a great soundtrack too. I liked all her song choices in the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this movie takes place starting in like the 80s and then going into so there's
yeah, and of course like there's a lot of great actors in this cast. So like almost every scene you'll be like, oh my gosh, this person's in this movie. Oh my god, this person's in like what is it? Dennis Haysbert's in this movie. The actress whose name I still can't remember, Debbie. She was in Eve's Bayou, and she was in
The
Hurricane as Hurricane's wife, and she was in this movie too as another wife. She's plays a lot of wives.
No, that's the other.
The Debbie Morgan or something like that.
Debbie Morgan, yeah.
Yes.
I just said Deborah. That was the name of the Canadian. Her name was also the Debbie Deborah. I was like, Deborah, no, that's a blonde woman. That's not her. Debbie Morgan. Yeah, great cast. Great cast overall. But if you didn't see it, available on Hulu, please check it out if you didn't see it, if you're looking for a romance to watch this week.
Yeah.
But now let's talk about Whoopi Goldberg. And look at this photo of her.
Ooh, I love this picture.
Yeah, I've never seen this photo of her. I almost picked this other photo of her that looks so like, it looked like this glamour shot of her, but she didn't have her iconic dreadlocks in it. I was like, I can't, it was a great photo of her. I was like, I can't pick a photo of her where she doesn't have her iconic dreadlocks. Like that's part of her look. That's how we know her. And now she has her white dreadlocks and she's rocking them. But Whoopi Goldberg, she is a superstar. She's been a superstar since the 80s, really breaking out in the film that was selected. We'll talk more about The Color Purple towards the end. But she was born, I don't know if it's Karen or Corinne. It's Caryn. Karen Elaine Johnson is her real name. Karen. She was born November 13th, 1955. She gave herself the name Whoopi from a whoopee cushion. She says when you're performing on stage, you never really have time to go into the bathroom and close the door. So if you get a little gassy, you've just got to let it go. So people used to say to me, you're like a whoopee cushion, and that's where the name came from. She is EGOT, which is an Emmy, Grammy, Academy Award, Tony winner.
Well, we say EGOT.
EGOT. Well,
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony.
Oh, Oscar. There we go. It was like a cat. Yeah, that didn't sound right. EGOT. She's an EGOT. I read her whole thing. Yeah, she's been on Broadway. She actually also, now I'm going to remember the name. She was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in 2003 as Ma Rainey. Grew up in Manhattan. Her father was a clergyman and her mother was a nurse and a teacher. Got interested in acting. She studied, in the 70s, she was in Southern California for a while, and then she lived in Berkeley for a while.
Do we know what her address in Berkeley was?
I don't know, but it says she worked various odd jobs, including as a bank teller, a mortuary cosmetologist, and a bricklayer. She also was part of the avant-garde theater troupe, the Blake Street Hawkeyes, and she taught comedy and acting classes there. Courtney Love was one of her acting students.
Wow.
Eventually, she went to New York City and studied acting there. Her first on-screen appearance was in 1982 with Citizen. I'm Not Losing My Mind, I'm Giving It Away, which was a ensemble avant-garde film. She created a one-woman show called The Spook Show, and which was one-woman show of different character monologues. And Mike Nichols saw her perform this, and he claims that he kind of discovered her. And they just instantly hit it off, and he's like, you've got to be, we've got to get you more publicity. And he helped her transfer the show to Broadway. She is considered, Mike Nichols, a mentor to her. And that show was then retitled Whoopi Goldberg, and it ran from 84 to 85. And then that was taped and put on HBO in 85. And it was that performance that caught the eye of Mr. Steven Spielberg, who then cast her in the lead of The Color Purple, which she was nominated for Best Actress for at the Oscars. Did not win. We'll talk more about that.
This film won no Oscars.
It was nominated for 11.
And won 0. It was like a huge stain on the Academy that year.
Several Best Acting. She was nominated for Best Actress, 2 Best Supporting Actress nominations, and many, many more. Yeah, didn't win any. I wonder if that's a record for how many nominations a film can get without winning anything, because that's insane. Since then, she has been in so many other films and movies. She was on Star Trek Next Generation. She's a huge, like, kind of lifelong Trekkie. Well, not lifelong, but ever since Star Trek came out, she was a huge Star Trek fan, and she actually asked to be on that show. She's like, I want to be in Star Trek. Like, I want to be in this. She, of course, ended up winning Best Supporting Actress for Ghost, which I still haven't seen ever.
That's just shameful.
I know. In the early 90s, she was in the Sister Act movies, was nominated for a Golden Globe. She won her Grammy from I think it was a recording from one of her Broadway performances, I'm pretty sure.
Like the Broadway album, basically, version
yeah,
of it.
So she won a Grammy for that. But she has been in so many films, so many TV shows. She's become a producer. She has hosted the Oscars, I think 3 times. She was the first Black woman to host the Oscars and the first solo woman to host the Oscars. And many have said that she's one of the best hosts ever. Thank you, Walter. Walter has also not seen Ghost.
I saw Ghost in theaters.
I know. It's one of those where, like, I don't know. I just haven't seen it.
I'm a little older than you, though. But like, so there's also that. But we my dad saw her first in Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mother first saw her in The Color Purple, and then that was one of those movies that, like, my mother, like, insisted that we all watch, and so we all saw this movie. And then after we saw that movie come out on video, then Ghost came out in theaters, and we, like, loved her in Ghost. We thought she was, like, the greatest thing. All of me and my sisters, and then she follows that up with Sister Act. So it was like she just kind of, like, kept us on a roll for, like, quite a while. So we would, like, go see anything that had Whoopi Goldberg. We even saw that awful movie she did with Ted Danson, Made in America, or something like that. She's hilarious in it. The movie is terrible. But, like, we even watched that because we loved her so much from all these movies. And then Sister Act 2 came out, and we thought heaven had come to earth or something. We were so happy. And I love that one even more. So, like, it all started for us actually with Color Purple. She,
of course, is still acting, still in the public eye here in her 60s. She's been one of the co-hosts of The View for several years and really helped she replaced Rosie O'Donnell and has kind of kept their ratings going. She recently came out in the CBS miniseries of The Stand. And she's a huge philanthropist. She works for so many different causes. She's a big LGBTQ community supporter. She also produced a TV show that had all trans models in 2016. It was kind of like a little competition show. She also, I don't know if this is still around, in 2016, she co-founded a company called Whoopi and Maya, which they make medical cannabis products for women seeking relief from menstrual cramps.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. And she says she was inspired to go into business by a lifetime of difficult periods and the fact that cannabis was literally the only thing that gave me relief. She's been very outspoken about some of the things that she's gone through in her life. Talking about abortions that she's had. She's been very outspoken with that. She's been married a few times. She has one daughter, and she's now a great grandmother.
Damn. And
Yeah.
she's still shutting Meghan McCain up on The View every time she gets out of control. I'm like, you think but she doesn't, like, how old is she now?
65, I think.
65. Okay, she's still pretty young.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's young to be a great grandmother. But my grandma, she became a grandma at 39. So,
Oh,
you
wow.
know, yeah, but she's always, just a very likable, lovable personality, and I would love to see her host the Oscars again. One of the Oscar ceremonies that I still have taped somewhere on VHS was a year that she had hosted, and I think that was the year where she came out dressed as Queen Elizabeth to present the presenter for best costumes.
Oh, wow. I'll have to look those clips up on YouTube.
Yeah, but she's great. She's great. We just love her. So
like, you need to see Ghost. You have to see Ghost.
I know. I
mean, you have to see her say the line.
Swayze fan. Like, I don't dislike him, but I'm not like obsessed with him. Like a lot of other people are like, oh, Patrick Swayze, like Dirty Dancing. I'm like, so I think that's been a turnoff. But I know it is one of those iconic, and she won an Oscar for it. So I should watch it just for her. And I know it's referenced so many times. And
yes, because Amy, you in danger, girl. If you don't watch Ghost.
Yes, I still have a VCR. I'm a film person. I keep things like that. And yes, Chad, I've never seen Ghost.
See, everyone's shocked.
Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about The Color Purple. So this came out in 1985, based on the book by Alice Walker. The basic plot of this is a Black Southern woman struggles to find her identity after suffering abuse from her father and others over 4 decades. This starts, I think, kind of more like late 1800s, like after the Civil War, turn of the century type thing. Has a fantastic cast: Danny Glover, Whoopi Goldberg, Margaret Avery, Oprah Winfrey, and more. And like we said, this was nominated for 11 Oscars, didn't win any. This was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress, 2 Best Supporting Actress nominations for Margaret Avery and Oprah Winfrey, who's also fantastic in this, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Music, Original Song, Best Original Score, and Best Makeup. Nothing.
Nothing.
It won nothing.
It was a pretty big, I felt like there was quite a bit of press about this. The fact that it didn't win anything. I forgot what else won that year, but people were just like pretty horrified. Like, oh, like you wanted to make this big show of how the Academy is changing. And so you nominated this movie, but then you didn't give it any awards.
This was the year that, as far as Whoopi Goldberg is concerned, Geraldine Page won that year in The Trip to Bountiful. Let's see, what won Best Picture that
year? What year was it?
85.
Oh, God.
Best Picture was Out of Africa. Which, is good, but...
The irony.
Yeah, and actually, that was also the year Meryl Streep was nominated. I mean, of course, she was always nominated in those days, and still today. She was nominated for Best Actress and lost that year, too. And I haven't seen The Trip to Bountiful, so I can't judge.
I don't know that people think it was necessarily the best performance that Geraldine Page ever got. It was more like, she's very old. This is our last chance to give her an Academy Award, and she was in a movie, and she wasn't bad, so here you go. But this was also adapted into an amazing, like, award-winning Broadway musical that I don't know if have you ever heard it or seen it, Amy? It's a great musical with an amazing soundtrack. It's one of those ones that, like, it doesn't matter who you are when you walk into the theater, you walk out like sobbing. Mm-hmm. And the stage musical is actually a little more open about this character, because in the book, this character falls in love with another woman and they have a relationship. And in this movie, they pretty much like just kind of erase most of that. There's like one moment where they kind of make it obvious, but in the musical version, they actually fully incorporate that relationship into this character's story. So there's more to see in the musical. If you love the story and want to see another version of it, that's a really great one that I've had the opportunity to see one production of it that toured. Crystal actually has seen the previous one. They were, I think, probably the original touring production. And then the revival came out and that went on tour. That revival tour is what I saw, and Crystal saw the original one, which was apparently even more amazing. It has had many big stars taking on the role of Celie in this film. But like, you know, when I think of this role, I always will see Whoopi Goldberg as this character. Like, it's such an indomitable performance. Like, it just seems like it's her role more than anybody else's.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, this really was her breakout role, and Roger Ebert had said something like, this is one of the best kind of like I mean, this wasn't her first movie at that point, but like breakout roles ever. He was certainly blown away by her. Walter's gone.
Walter.
Yeah, but thank you, Crystal, for picking this film. This was a Patreon pick. She gave us a lot of really good choices, and we knew we wanted to talk about Whoopi Goldberg this month anyway, since we hadn't discussed her yet. And this was just a no-brainer of like, okay, yeah, like Crystal, this is one of her options. Let's do The Color Purple and talk about Whoopi Goldberg for our Woman Crush Wednesday.
Yes, she had another movie of Whoopi's on that list of options too. Karina,
yep.
Which, you know, has a touch of like, you know, the sort of the magical Negro trope that, you know, was a common way in which white filmmakers would incorporate Black characters into stories. They somehow like solve this white family's problems kind of thing. And it's a really fun and super cute movie though. So I was like really tempted, but it's like, okay, I feel like, you know, this is a good time to revisit The Color Purple. It's been years since I've watched it. It is Black History Month. This is like a major work of literature by a major Black author, a national treasure in many ways. So I thought this was the opportune moment to do so.
And this movie is available on HBO Max. So if you have that, then you're good to go. Otherwise, you might have to rent this. Remember to watch your movies legally. If you would like to also pick a movie for future months, then sign up for our Patreon. I put the link in the comments. You have to do the screenwriter tier or higher. We're already starting to get some suggestions from our Patreons. Crystal, I will privately message you about that. Getting our March suggestions in. Yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this. This is another, you know, decently long one, so 2.5 hour film. So plan accordingly, but it really is just so great. Should have maybe won Best Picture that year. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen Out of Africa too.
I'm pretty sure I like this one better than Out of Africa.
Yeah, I feel like every time I try to watch Out of Africa, I was like, I'm enjoying this, but I fell asleep. Like, it took me a long time to get through that film. It's like, wake up.
Out of Africa. It's one of those movies that you're kind of like, oh, it won Best Picture, so it must be a great film. It's like what you think when you're a little kid and you get obsessed with movies and you start looking up all the information. You're like, oh, well, these are the great movies because these won Best Picture. And then you start to watch those movies and you're like, you know what? I'm starting to figure out that maybe the best movie of the year didn't always win this award, or in my view, almost none of the time won that award. So it's completely normal now in my brain for like my favorite movie will probably not win the Oscar for Best Picture. But every now and then, a truly great film does win a Best Picture Oscar. However, this movie, I think, is better than a lot of other Steven Spielberg movies. I think he tried. He really tried. You know, you can
this was
sense that he
definitely
really
one of his like, this is an Oscar movie. I mean, he has like two types of movies. He has his fun Hollywood films, and then he has his like, all right, let's get down to business here.
Yes.
And I like both. I like both of his types of movies that he does. Crystal, I'm guessing your pick for next month is going to be Ghost.
She's obsessed now.
That would get me to watch it.
It will be an opportunity to talk about the Bollywood remake of Ghost that happened once upon a time.
Oh my god.
Someday.
Oh my god. Yeah, but please watch this tonight. Join us tomorrow as we discuss this after we watch it. Tomorrow is another Genre Thursday for the month, and we are continuing our cat movies. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the documentary that came out a few years ago called Keddy, and it's just delightful, and the whole thing's about cats and
real cats.
I like cats. Yeah, this is a non-animated cat film that we have here. Yeah, so it'll be a fun day tomorrow. I'm excited to talk about both of these movies. Again, this is available on HBO. And then we'll talk about this more tomorrow, but Keddy is available on Canopy. Do you want us to talk about Canopy really quick? Because I don't think a lot of people know what Canopy is.
Oh, Canopy it's sort of like a digital version of checking out movies from the library. And so it's like a streaming app that you can get on any one of your streaming playing boxes or on your computer, I think, on your phone, you can get it. And basically you have to just have a library card, and your library or a library in your area has to actually participate in it and contribute. Yeah. So all the titles that would be available at your library to rent, or at least a lot of them would be, any of them that are available streaming can be watched for free on the Canopy app. And you get, I think, 10 movies a week that you can watch 10 movies a week for free. And then there's a collection of other movies that they don't require.
It really varies which library you sign up with, because Samir, being in the Bay Area, he gets 10 free movies a week. There was only one library in the San Diego area that was participating in Canopy, and I signed up for them. It was the Coronado Library, and actually anyone in California can sign up for the Coronado Library. Turns out you can do it online, and I only get 7 movies a month. So I don't know, but it's still free, and Keddy is available on there. So if you have a library card, look it up and see if your library participates in this. If not, maybe try and see if you could sign up for something else, because it's just another, and they have some really great movies on there. We spent some time looking through it yesterday. They have all these Criterion movies that they put on there. That on the Criterion app right now. Yeah, really, really, there's some newer films, there's some classic films, and like any streaming app, they take things away and add things all the time. But that is what we were going to be recommending to watch Keddy tomorrow, because it is available on there. And if you have it, you can watch it for free. And we always try and find free things. Yes, Crystal, please check it out. Again, it's called Canopy with a K. So just
Canopy.
Yeah, Canopy with a K. But please check them out too. Get that ready to go. And if possible, that'll be another thing where we try and find movies on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, but The Color Purple is not on there. The Color Purple is on HBO Max and HBO, which you definitely do have to pay for. But if you have that, it's free. Please watch that tonight, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Mwah.